Paul, you there?
Good evening, caller. What's my name? It's Avery. Hey, what's up, LV? You say you're East Coast Trojan. I'm a down Trojan. But I'm on the East Coast, calling from Hagerstown. How we doing? What's going on?
Avery, I'm worried about you. You sound way too freaking happy after watching this game. But what's your take on the game, Eve?
I mean, I've been telling you, hey, statistics say that we are one of the lowest rated teams running the ball on the road. And it took to the second half for Lincoln Riley to realize that he needs to play USC football and run the football. Oh, my God. Imagine that.
Yeah, it was another brutal loss. We were wondering when the running game would get started. Early in the game, they weren't running the ball enough, but they also weren't really capitalizing when they were running. They were averaging about 2 yards a carry. But, sometimes you got to warm that thing up. You got to make your runs, and get moving. It just seemed like really it's not just a run game of choices. Yet again, they have a sluggish start. I mean, you come out. I looked at my notes. I mean, you come out and you go 3 and out. So you start the game with 3 and out. Then you throw an interception, right? Oh, no, I can't remember. Missed a field goal and then throw an interception. That's your first three. That's your first 3 drives of the game, LV. Is that how do you win doing that on the road every single time?
Yeah, I think preparation is the key, right? So, you got to start with the head man with that. That's just what it comes down to. But I do not think this is a Lincoln Riley problem. I don't. I know a lot of people, in the chat, they're going to be upset about that. Of course, you're getting a whole bunch of Riley slander, but the more I've watched this team week after week after week, the more I'm starting to see, he's trying to keep this together with Scotch tape. I mentioned that to you earlier, Tim. And so with the slow starts, he's putting out a game plan. Guys have to execute. Yes, I feel like he should have ran the ball more. I think he should have, but guys got to execute. And I think in the first half, you just saw, he was trying to get a feel for what they were doing defensively. But it was a tale of 2 halves, because once he went back in the second half, he started scheming some things. Then you saw Lincoln Riley. So I think that's what it came down to. But listen, guys, he's trying to keep things together with this roster, man. This is not the roster he started off the year with. This isn't. So, you got to kind of pay attention to that. He's trying to do the best he can with a lot of guys that are second string and third string guys.
Now, here's my thing, though. This is not, again, it was a pass in year 1. There was a pass in year 2. In year 3, your roster needs to be at least, look at Jed Fish. Jed Fish just walked in who had no roster. Do you know what I mean? And he's making this happen with coaching. I get what you're saying. I think overall, I would like to see him a little more running earlier in the game, but the run wasn't working. It wasn't. But you got to make that thing. You have to massage that thing in, Avery. You have to have a situation where Lincoln Riley commits to running the ball. Because if you're going to be a running team, you have to commit to running it. And once it got going, they did a great job, because this offensive line was actually giving them a lot of protection. They weren't bringing a lot, really. They were dropping a lot of guys. This is the passing. They wanted SC to throw the ball. SC had to run them out of that defense, and they didn't. Avery, you there?
I'm just listening. What else is new from anybody that comes up under the air raid tree, where the possibility is they rush you, drop A, or they want to be shown that you're going to run the ball committedly and run defense. You just said it. What else is new? We've been saying this for how many years?
Yeah,
we know this.
Yeah. So, Avery, any final takes, Avery?
You're not gonna want to hear me say this, but I don't think he's the guy.
What's that?
I don't think he's the guy.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, listen, I had some doubts coming into this game, but little doubts, right? But every time I see a game like this where the team just does not perform, USC had a number of chances in the second half. They came out like gangbusters and really took over the game in the third quarter. You could ask for a better defensive stand. The defense was, shaking their heads going, what else do you guys want us to do for you in the second half? And the offense from the very beginning of this game was just clunky, and then when they are moving, they got moving in the third quarter, the fourth quarter. And it was just a shame to see them come up with no points really at the end of the previous drive. At the end of the game, it just seems like there doesn't seem, LV, like there's a lot of confidence. I mean, I think Miller Moss as a quarterback, guys. Here's what I'm saying. Miller Moss is not the same quarterback. Talk about like having missing guys on the roster. Miller Moss is not the same dude. This guy got knocked around right after he got hit really hard. He threw that ball, like you said, right into the defensive end's lap. Lucky that didn't drop and turn it 27-7 early on in the game. Yeah, Miller Moss, this defense has let him get the crap beat out of him. He had time to throw today. But I'm not sure if he's the same quarterback we saw. His confidence seems like it's busted, and with him, it seems like the offense is busted.
Well,
all right. Hey, listen, thank you, Avery, so much.
Can I say this before I go?
Sure.
You know why his confidence isn't there? And I'm a fan, and you're my guy. Dude, we had 1,000 yards with Curtis McNeil and Javaris Buck Allen. Why aren't we on pace for 1,000 yards with Woody Marks? And we know the limitations that we have with Miller Morris and the offensive line. This is Lincoln, man. And fight on. I'm just end on that.
Yeah, fight on, Avery. Not many positive things we could say out of that gut-wrenching loss. There's a little blip of life there on the road, and then just faded. But this is one more time. It just seems like the fourth time on the road where this team just needed to step up and do something, and they didn't. It's becoming a pattern that they cannot win close games on the road.
Well, let me say this to you, Tim, and to everyone out there. When you're on the road, that's when your star players step up, not your role players. Your role players don't play well on the road. That's the star player's job. They've lost, I don't know how many games now. I want to say, all right, there are 5 losses. You want to say 4? I want to say, let's say all 5 of them, right, have been close losses. They haven't gotten blown out of one game. One game. They've been close. They're either driving or they're right there.
But they're not finishing.
You know why they're not finishing, Tim? You can't turn a ball over, man.
Yeah.
And think how many games we would have won and it wouldn't have been turnovers. It's one, and this is where I'm sorry, it may sound like a broken record, but I gotta kind of use the Raleigh line and say we're 1 or 2 plays away. And the reason why that makes sense, because guys, how many times are we in games? I'm speaking of Penn State, I'm speaking of Michigan, I'm speaking of all the top games where the game is right there to be won, and we turn the ball over. Tonight, we should have been up 28-20. We turn the ball over. So that's the ball game. When you sit back and you rewatch all those games, because that's what I've done. I don't know if you guys do it, but I like to rewatch a game because I like to see it a day later just to kind of get a new set of eyes on it. And that's what's happening in these games. We're turning the ball over in crucial moments.
You can't turn the ball over on the road, LV. That's a rule of football. You're on the road, you have to take care of the ball. And you're right. One of those interceptions was not on Miller, but the other ones, those were on Miller. Those are throws he just can't make. He should have had 3, actually. He got a gift on that one. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say to you. Miller's broken. This team is broken, Miller. I mean, that's something that really I first heard from Gabe over at Trojan Blade. He's not the same quarterback anymore. He's lost that mojo. He had that mojo firing, but this offensive line let him get pasted enough that he just there's something there. There really is. And then so you're throwing up against a great passing defense on the road, and they know you have to throw, and it's raining, and it's windy, and your quarterback is just not what he's been. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Tim, this is Alan from Hawaii. It's been a long time since I've called in.
I remember. Yeah, it has been all season, pretty much.
Yeah, when the time changed, I was stuck at work. I missed all the Friday call-in shows. But anyway, unfortunately, I think that we're just going to have to live with our growing pains because Alani Noah was so locked in on what his assignment was on that goal line run that he just completely, just like that guy that was right in front of him didn't exist. He's the guy that made the play. He was locked in on the double team, and he just didn't recognize the situation. And those are growing things. He's going to learn from it, and that's all we can hope for on that. As far as play calling, the second half was great. Yeah, we'll have to give that. But first half why do we have 40-something 2 passes and how many 8 runs or 9 runs or something like that? When Washington is known to be not very good against the run, why we finally got in the second half, ram it down the throats. Here it is until you stop us, and then missed assignment and just one of those things again. So it's so painful to watch. These plays, single plays that determines the fate of our game. But this has been a season-long thing. I think it's just. I think Lincoln gets so wrapped up in his play calling that he doesn't pay attention to all the other stuff that's going on. He needs to have an OC, and so he can manage the whole team. He doesn't manage the team. All he manages is his play calling, and he's unfortunately leaving it up to his subordinates to do his job, and they're doing their own job, but. I think he's unfortunately, yes, we have to live with growing pains all around. I think the best thing that Lincoln could do was say, hey, Pete, why don't you watch a couple games and tell me what I'm doing wrong and listen to what he has to say.
Alan, really quick.
Pete's right there.
Alan.
Yeah.
Listen, by the way, I am almost certain he's talking to Pete. You can almost guarantee it. And if he's not going to Pete, I guarantee you, I don't personally know Pete Carroll, but everything I know about Pete Carroll's probably walking into his office and talking to him. I mean, I'm telling you, those guys are talking. But here's my question for you, though, Alan. Didn't Riley put this team in a position to win the damn game again? So here's what I say. Before you answer, okay. This isn't an open apology for Lincoln Riley. There were a number of massive mistakes made in this game. But here's what I'm going to come to. It was still another game, close game, where player makes a play, multiple plays on multiple opportunities. USC's walking out of Seattle with the win. So it's Riley and it's the players. I'm tired of giving one or the other a ride. Both of these groups, the coaching staff and the players, need to be accountable. Everyone wants it to be one thing. Replace this, replace that, get rid of him, get rid of that, do this, do that. It's not. There are issues. And the finger does point towards the coach. Because at the end of the day, really, all of that is under his auspices. So he has to take responsibility. But man, these players had chances to win this goddamn game. And they didn't. Again, think back to the Penn State game. Multiple opportunities to win that game. And they didn't. Think about the Michigan game, how that thing ended. Multiple chances. And they don't make the play. Listen, we need to figure out. Also, we got to start looking at the players too. These players got to start making some plays. The coaches need to figure some stuff out.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
Are they not watching film? I mean, it seems like some of
Alan.
Some of the young guys, they're not. They don't. You wonder if they're learning from their mistakes, because that just pick out the one play at the goal line. I mean, it's just youth, inexperience. You can't really complain about that. There's nobody. I'm not saying anybody needs to be replaced.
You talked about Pete Carroll.
I just think
Alan, you talked about Pete Carroll. That team played with swag. That team played loose. That team played confident. They were amazing athletes, but they didn't play to lose. They didn't try to hold on to wins. They took it to you. And that's an attitude this team has and lacks. And it's not that, I won't use the word choke, but they've been clutching up a lot. They clutch up in that moment. Hey, listen, Alan, appreciate you calling in. We have like 14 people calling, so I got to move, but I appreciate you calling. It's good to hear from you in a long time. Hopefully next time we talk, one, it won't be so long, and two, it'll be after a win.
Real quickly, are you now on Thursdays?
No, that was a Dodger game. That's why we were ready to go, and we moved it every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 7 and 10 Eastern. Every Wednesday. Yep.
Okay, awesome.
All right, thank you, Alan.
I can make that. All right, thanks, Tim.
All
thanks,
right.
LV.
Aloha, Alan. Man, at least Alan gets to wake up tomorrow in Hawaii somewhere. Do you know what I mean? I'm not complaining where I am, but man, it'd be nice to be in Hawaii right now.
Agreed.